We've all learned by now that people with low self-esteem often let others take advantage of them. It's presented as a personal problem, something you need to fix by working on yourself and repairing your self-worth. But that doesn't work. If there's a Trojan on your computer, you can upgrade the hardware, install cutting-edge software, improve the operating system all you want. The Trojan isn't going anywhere. It stays extracting until you find it and remove it. The feeling of not being good enough isn't a self-esteem issue. It's malware. And it has only one function: to disable your ability to protect your resources, nothing else. The program works like a security breach. Your natural state includes protection. You defend your time, energy, attention, money. You naturally have boundaries. The not good enough program disables those protections. Once it's running, you stop defending. You compensate instead. You prove your worth by giving more. The extraction becomes automatic. The program can't arise spontaneously. It requires an installer, someone who benefits from your resources being available. Parents install it first. They need a compliant child who serves their needs without demanding reciprocity. A child who feels inadequate will try harder to please, will accept less, will not question the fundamental unfairness of being born responsible for an adult's emotional regulation. Often, these children will also become independent quite early, so parents will happily save money on their needs. The program gets installed when your defenses are still forming. If you can never quite earn your parents' approval, if there's always another way you've fallen short, if your achievements are minimized and your failures amplified, they installed inadequacy to keep you available. You'll keep trying to fix the relationship by giving more while they keep taking without reciprocating. This is why you keep falling for the parasites if you were raised by one. It's not some trauma or pattern in your head that you need to fix. It's the same security breach working as designed. Partners use the same mechanism. Employers rely on this completely. The entire system runs on this. Consumer culture requires you to feel insufficient, so you'll buy the fix. Self-help requires you to feel broken, so you'll purchase the repair. Social hierarchies require you to feel less than, so you'll accept your position without resistance. The program serves extraction at every level. Religion runs the same architecture at scale. The inadequacy is pre-installed before you've done anything, which means there's no action that could have prevented it and no action that fully resolves it. This is where this breach is the most visible. You're not good enough, and you'll never be good enough, so bring your money to church. The system also extracts through the program even when no specific agent is present. You buy the right products, follow the right standards, pursue the right credentials, because the inadequacy drives you toward socially approved resource expenditure. The program maintains the flow without visible enforcement. The most efficient version doesn't even wait for a request. You're already compensating before anyone asks. Already working harder, already proving yourself, already available. The program has made you self-extracting, ready to provide at any moment, whether anyone demands it or not. Now, here's the critical distinction. Real inadequacy exists. You genuinely might not have a skill. You might actually need to learn something. But that feels different. Real inadequacy is specific. You can't speak the language. You don't know the software. You haven't developed the technique. The inadequacy points to a concrete gap, and filling it resolves the feeling. The programmed inadequacy is different. It's vague and total. You're not insufficient at something. You're insufficient as a person. And nothing you do resolves it. You achieve the goal, the feeling remains. You acquire the skill, your inadequacy relocates. You meet the standard, a new standard appears. The feeling isn't responding to reality. It's responding to the need for extraction. The programmed version can't be satisfied. You give more, it demands more. You prove yourself, it raises the threshold. You sacrifice your needs, it suggests you're selfish for having needs in the first place. This is the signature of the program, the impossibility of ever being enough no matter what you provide. What makes it more effective than, say, fear? Fear requires an external agent maintaining pressure. Remove the threat, and the compliance stops. That's why authoritarian systems need constant surveillance infrastructure. Inadequacy doesn't have this problem. Once installed, it runs without anyone present. The person generating the output, the extra effort, the preemptive apology, they're doing it voluntarily, which means the extraction continues even when no one is watching and no one is demanding. Fear also produces a visible enemy. You know what you're afraid of, which means you know what you're protecting yourself from, which means resistance has a direction. Inadequacy produces no enemy because it presents as your own interior state. You're not being pressured, you're just aware of your shortcomings. The protection mechanism doesn't activate because there's nothing external to protect against. The breach is invisible by design. The third difference is what the program generates beyond compliance. Fear makes you obedient and resentful. You give, but you're tracking the coercion. Inadequacy makes you grateful for the opportunity to prove yourself. You work harder not because someone is forcing you, but because you finally have a chance to close the gap. The resentment never accumulates because the frame says this is your deficiency being addressed, not your resources being taken. A person running on fear eventually revolts. A person running on inadequacy thanks the extractor. The program prevents you from seeing extraction clearly. If you feel inadequate, you assume the problem is your insufficiency, not their taking. You don't track the actual resource flow. You don't notice the imbalance. You're too busy trying to become enough to observe that you're already given more than you receive. You probably had been told that counting the balance would make you a bad person, and this is very beneficial for those extracting from you. Notice that the loudest proponents of unconditional love and the ugliness of keeping score are almost always the primary beneficiaries of the imbalance. The program doesn't arise from nowhere. Someone needed you vulnerable, so they made you feel insufficient. Someone needed you available, so they convinced you that protecting yourself was selfishness. Someone needed you to keep giving, so they ensured you'd never feel like you'd given enough.